one just has to wonder, what is this man doing? Why would he be doing these bizarre, childish hand signs that you see Masons doing? Now, somebody could say, well, it's different when he does it. He's the president. We've been told that we're to respect his authority and so on and so forth at all costs. It should concern you when you see him as one of the leaders of the countries of this world, especially America, using these same types of creepy Masonic hand signs that are deeply associated with occultic ideas and themes. In fact, there's 9 minutes where Jeremiah goes into it, explaining it, and he has a whole cadre of Trump throwing these hand signs. Can you explain this?
Several cycles where politicians campaigned and said they would change things, but they didn't change things. So it's not just Donald Trump. There's a country looking for something very, very different.
Order out of chaos.
So the heart of the Trump model is...
So it kind of makes sense when you see this next story. And I do like that Jeremiah paired this order out of chaos, Mason, twin-headed eagle, showing, the double-minded man and their crest, paired up next with Mr. Mason running the show right now. Look at this. Trump's obsession with credit score is very concerning. Now, this guy actually totally supports Trump, so for him to say anything even remotely critical is kind of concerning. And when you consider that all of these things, they all pair together, they all have something to do with each other. In fact, throw that in too. Some people have been trained that they can't bear to hear anything negative about unbelieving Israel because of brainwashing. But you should be offended that you're having Talmudian Jewish black magic practitioners foisted upon you. And people can't even handle that an Antichrist is coming. If you're a Christian, you've heard that your whole life, but there's people that just can't bear to think that it could be a Yeshua impostor, even though that's exactly what Jesus says is coming. Well, let's see how it's setting up. Let's see how your prison is setting up for this world.
President Trump has a fatal attraction. It is a fatal attraction. It's an obsession. And it's going to be his undoing, and it's going to be the masses who've supported him. It's going to be our undoing. And we're going to talk about that here on the Common Sense Show. My name is Dave Hodges.
Okay, I will spare you the torture of the commercial.
If you profess them, they will know who you are if you put your name on it. Additionally, your smart devices that are spying on you, unless you have them all on Virtual Shield, they can't stop the flow of information going to security. They can if you have your devices on them. Ladies and gentlemen, this is something everyone needs to have. I have it. You need to have it because you don't want your security score to go up any higher than it already has. Why? Because it's the mark of the beast. You won't be able to buy, sell, or do anything. And this ties right into what we're talking about here today. By the way, they're offering 20% off or a 30-day free trial, and you can get started.
Okay, you know what? A VPN isn't going to do anything for you when you have the most advanced technology companies on the face of the earth with master technicians who have all kinds of degrees who deal with national security. Your little VPN, they can see that and they can see everything else. And I feel like this guy is one of them, but nonetheless, excuse me. He is going to tell you that you're already under surveillance, which is something that I've been telling you video after video as well.
for the price of a cup of coffee. They make it extremely easy. Go to hidewithdave.com.
Yeah.
A commercial can blend right in with the story because this is exactly what it is. And I'm imploring you, if you don't have this kind of protection, you need to get it. And I don't know who else offers something this good as Virtual Shield. That's why I push them so hard. Otherwise, I'd say to you, well, if you don't use our product, go somewhere else and make sure you use it. There's nothing else like this. Hidewithdave.com. Now, Trump has an obsession with social credit scores. I have never seen a president flip the way he's flipped in the last 30 days. I think he's flipped out. He's flipped his wig. He's gone nuts. Social credit score to determine whether you can own a gun. What now? Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. They're psychologists and they can diagnose you third person. Are you kidding me? I mean, this violates every tenet of mental health. This is worse than political schizophrenia that got the Soviets chastised by the world's mental health community in the 1970s. This is insane, and President Trump is saying, this is okay. And then they want to use this material to declare you to have a security score risk, and you can't buy or sell. Mark of the beast. Trump seems to be okay with this, too. Are you kidding me? Now, before we throw Trump out with the bathwater, what we need to do is stand up to him and tell him this is not acceptable. Your base is telling you this is not acceptable. And if you want our vote and our continued support, you need to back off both of these issues, and you need to do so immediately. If he doesn't, folks, those of you who get mad whenever I criticize him, and remember, I supported him, put everything I had, risked everything I had to support this man into the presidency, and he's done nothing in return for me personally with regard to social media censorship. Despite that, I've stayed loyal to him, but this is where the line gets drawn. He goes after the guns. They let social credit be the deciding factor. Social credit is no more than the opinion of the army of the thought police that they're hiring right now to determine whether your post is suitable for their platform. What do you think they're going to say about your ability to own a gun? And oftentimes you're talking 22-year-old millennials that can pour piss out of a boot, and they're going to make a judgment on whether you're mentally ill. I just am beside myself that Trump would even consider something so insane as this. First of all, he needs to kick his daughter, Ivanka, out of the White House, and that traitor, George Soros' business partner, her husband, Jared Kushner, they need to be gone. They need to be banished from the White House. I'm giving you lots of material because I expect you, after you finish listening to this video, that you are going to pick up the phone and call the White House switchboard, or you're going to send an email and you're going to tell Trump, you want my vote. These two things are unacceptable and you need to denounce them immediately. Get a backbone, Mr. President, and stand up to these leftist communists. Well, that's it for the Common Sense Show. Thank you so much.
He actually believes that they really go by a voting system. That's what they tell you, but that's the illusion. This is the guy that they follow, these Masons. And there is temporary power available through these spirit entities in this network of individuals that buy into this Luciferian lifestyle. And he serves the purposes of the ugly cousin of Masons, which are unbelieving Jews. Now, I don't have a problem with all Jews. I love Jews. But the Chabadist cult of Jews is setting you up. And they have networking ties with the president. People don't like to hear that. But you know what? The truth is the truth, whether people like it or not. So what do you think he's doing when he throws the 666 hand sign that all the celebrities do? Which has a ton of meaning to it, but suffice it to say, it's not praising Jesus, it's praising something else, somebody else. Oh, look, it's your good friends at NoahideAcademy.com, and they want to bring to your attention that, hey, look, President Trump declares Education and Sharing Day. Isn't that sweet? Isn't that wonderful? Hey, what's a Noahide? What does that mean? Hey, is that a rabbi? Huh. What are they up to? Let's see. What could they possibly want to do to re-educate you? Could it have anything to do with this Schneerson guy that goes by the Talmud? Hey, there he is. The birthday of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, issuing a declaration proclaiming the day Education and Sharing Day. All kinds of people have signed on to it. Look, March 27th, 2018, Education and Sharing Day, USA. They're going to bring forth these time-honored values and ethics that can help young people go straight to the pit of hell with another gospel. Achieve lives of purpose and passion. He is an unbeliever and a leader of the cabal of faith who believe in the potential of all persons and sought to empower young people through education, character development, and civil pride. Because you see, he had all of these quotes about this coming Antichrist that he called the Mashiach. It's not Jesus Christ. He hates Jesus Christ, and he wants you to hate Jesus Christ too. And they want to get into the educational system, saying that it's moral and spiritual development. Look at that. Which could transform the world for good. You mean like a false peace? And he devoted his life to these principles. He hates Gentiles. He's dead now, but in his living days, he made a constant demand upon the Jews to be in this uppity position of superiority, these unbelieving Habadist Jews to take Gentiles under slavery. And he was a horrible human being. And it's not a bad thing to call him that, because his views, when you study out Schneerson, you will find out that is exactly the rub. Look at this. These educational and social service centers can be found in every state and throughout the world. The Lubavitcher Rebbe believed that even in the darkest place, the light of a single candle can be seen far away, far and wide. And the president also talked about that too. Look, now therefore I, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Constitution and laws of the United States, do hereby proclaim the 27th of 2018 as an Education and Sharing Day USA. I call on government officials, educators, volunteers, and all the people of the United States to observe this day with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. And then he signed off on it. And you're sitting here kind of going, okay, well, no big problem, right? What's a Noahide? Well, you see, they have a completely different gospel. They have one in which you have to earn your salvation. That should creep you out. Jesus said, oh my, Jesus said, call no man rabbi or father. And so these guys come along and they go, well, we've got a kingdom for you. We've got a salvation for you. You can you can become a religious Gentile. You can become a righteous Gentile. And they're vampirizing these people who want to have religion, and they take away from them Jesus Christ, so they make him illegal. They're not really telling you a lot about Noahide, but there's 7 laws that you have to obey, and the ones that are particularly concerning are the ones that there's going to be courts everywhere. And if you break any of these laws, off with your head. And you're not allowed to worship anything other than Hashem. So no Jesus, no Yahweh. You're not even allowed to speak those names. And this is what's becoming a big deal with this kingdom coming, with this Antichrist, that Christians go, I read the Bible, I get the Bible says an Antichrist is coming. And then you try to tell people Jewish Antichrist is coming, and they're like, you can't say anything about unbelieving Jews. They're God's chosen people. And you're like, well, they were when they brought the Messiah, but then they got cut off in unbelief, and now they're up to this really bad stuff. And you can't pay people to care. You cannot pay Christians to care, has been my experience. So the whole world in the UN is yoking up with these guys. The religious people, the government, for this universal Noahide. You have to obey it or else. And saying you don't want to do this makes you the violent extremist. Do you know what they're going to do to you, intolerant Christian? Go to sub-laws and go to the no idolatry, entertaining even a thought that there exists a deity except Hashem. No Jesus worship is allowed. And Trump is in agreement that this court is to administer the death penalty by cutting your head off. Appointing judges.